Hello everybody! I hope you all are doing well tonight. I am dropping in with a message. It's a very important message. It has a lot to do with the energy right now. If you guys have felt it, it is quite progressive. There has been a progression in the energy. It's very high vibration, very transformative. Will give you goosebumps. It has a lot to do with the Kundalini awakening, the rise of divine feminine energy. So it's funny, guys. It's a long story, and I'm gonna give the message, and I'm gonna share what I feel guided to share. I have a very important message from someone you may know, Cornell. He has a message about conformity for you. Also, Metatron is present in sharing some guidance on how to properly transmute for not only yourself but for the collective. So a lot of you, or not a lot of you, but there's probably a few of you who noticed I posted a video about this yesterday, and I posted it and something kind of didn't feel quite aligned, and I just got this message that they had more, that who I was connecting with and my guidance team had more for me to see, had more for me to experience before I could truly deliver the message in a way that can benefit you and our fellow brothers and sisters here in this shift. So let's go ahead and get to the message, guys. And then I have a little bit of a story to tell you about what this really means. So let's go ahead and get into it. I ended up finding out that I had been really, because it scared me, Roscoe. It's very peculiar, honestly. Am I taking? Yeah, I'm taking too long. Okay. This all came about it's very peculiar. My mediumship skills have definitely been evolving rapidly recently. I mean, I've always been a medium, but I'm having it's just stronger. So I got this channeled message last night after meditation, but it was peculiar. I didn't mention it because my cat startled me a little. Sorry guys, this is kind of, it's just hard to put into words. Because it's such a great honor to me, honestly, to be able to do this. So I apologize. I'm beating around the bush. Really not trying to, I promise. So I was getting, messages that there was just more that I needed to see, more I needed to experience, more that they needed to show me, more information they needed to give me. And I ended up actually uncovering that I am being guided right now by Cornell. This is a channeled message from Cornell. We're in the light of dawn, moving right along. Nail in my hand from You're my creator. You gave me life, so show me how to live. It's very significant. Very significant for you guys to listen to that song, and it's called Show Me How to Live by Audio Slave. There is a significant message there for you, for everybody, about what is going on right now. Because the crumbling of conformity is happening right now. And when conformity crumbles, divine feminine rises to shed the light on the over-emasculated, what has become toxic, is coming to balance out those forces. So, let's get into it. This is the message that I got from Chris Cornell. And this is something big, is really big. Something really big's coming, guys. As far as this crumbling of conformity. So let's read the message that I had gotten. And remember, guys, this is channeling. So sometimes it might get, just take it the way that it feels to you. Even if it sounds a little maybe weird worded and stuff. So let me go ahead. Alrighty. I think it's gone. Okay. So the first thing that came through was conformity is the seed of evil that roots the separation of self in the soil of life. Many say that money is the root of all darkness, when really it's just a constructed illusion founded on conformity. Conformity is the seed of evil, as it is the nature of lineage, the nature of time, and the nature of separation. Conformity is the cause of violence, poverty, egoism, and duality. The rejection of oneself, and in turn, the rejection of one another. To conform is to simplify multifacets into one standard, for that standard will define all facets. And that's why we hide anything unique or out of form and define it as faulty and less than. To conform is to drive out the creative fertility of femininity and overpower with the logic and standard of masculinity. It is the imbalance of yin and yang, dark and light, negative and positive. We are all both feminine and masculine, but have been brainwashed to either reject our inner femininity or accept it with fear of rejection. It's time to be fearless. It's time to be you. And this is where self-hatred, depression that is founded on the inability to feel confident and trusting. Ultimately, it is the separation from our awareness of our soul consciousness and furthermore, collective consciousness. Do not confuse conformity with compassion, with moral, and with intent, for it has been manipulated and masqueraded to be such. Conformity is what keeps us divided and powerless in fear, what keeps us running on the autopilot of logics founded on mind control. It is the subliminal message that a hardened, self-serving heart is safe and more secure than an open, creative, giving, and vulnerable heart living here to serve others. You cannot be both multidimensional and live in a life founded on linear expectations of conformity. They simply cannot coexist in the same essence. True unified consciousness becomes reality when we recognize that our power relies on action of rebellion, relies on action of the rebellion we reject out of the illusion of conformity as right from wrong. To embody the light is to act on rebellion. You want out? One sec, babe. Our sovereignty solely relies on the authenticity of our true nature, and in that embrace there must be rebellion in light and love, for it is the answer to revolution we seek. We have only been manipulated to follow the dark as the light, in the constraints of what separates us from one another. Unity is to aim for not neither black nor white, but gray. Not for negative or positive, but for neutral. And not up or down, but middle ground. So that was what I got from this whole experience, which is very deep, very true, very much the truth. Now, I'm going to kind of go into this and explain something that I was shown yesterday. So what this is meaning is to not conform to the dark, but to rebel in the light, to use light to shed on the dark. Something big is happening right now. There is definitely a peak happening at the moment. And in that, there is going to be, and this is not to be fearful, we are here to be fearless in the light. Okay, baby. Stop. Go ahead. As sensitive souls empaths, and as people awaken, they will become more sensitive and they will be more in tune. And we need to be very mindful of where our mind goes and what emotions we feel when we are observing a moment of darkness for somebody, or a dark circumstance. And I'm going to tell you guys a story about what happened, what I was shown, and how it was maybe one of the most enlightening moments of my life, to be honest. when we see somebody struggling, when we see an unfortunate circumstance, when we see something that may be scary, it is very vital that we stay out of a low vibration in those moments. We want to replace, because naturally as sensitive people we're going to feel, and you know, like I know that a lot of you could probably relate to this, but I cry a lot because, at least, and I was shown that you don't want to do that feeds into the fear. There's that feeling the emotions of others when you see them struggling. And what I was told, what I was shown, and what I was guided to do, and I came across 2 men who were homeless that day. One man was early in the day, and it was sad. It was heartbreaking. It was tragic. And I just started welling up with tears and crying and feeling his pain, feeling that space of empathy. But what I was doing was I was feeling, in a sense, sorry for him. I was in a vibration of pitying him, and through that I was thinking of all the horrible things that might happen to him, all the horrible things that have probably already happened to him. And then, you know, it elaborates, and that's feeding fear. And then we feel all these emotions, and those emotions are so powerful when it comes to projecting future timelines and outcomes. And I was shown that when that happens, from now on, when you see somebody struggling, you must bless them. You must think of all the wonderful things that you want to happen for them. All the wonderful things that you would want for yourself if you were in that situation, or your loved ones. And you replace all the lower vibrations of sadness and tragedy and maybe pity and worry and all those fear-based energies, and you replace it with compassion and love and creation, with feminine energy. So I was like, okay, makes sense to me, makes complete sense to me. So later on that day, I took my son to go on a picnic for dinner. And we get to the park, and it's the park we always go to. And there was another gentleman who was in very unfortunate circumstances. And he was screaming and screaming. He was screaming at God. He was cursing God. He was out of his mind. He was not good. Not good. Almost terrifying. If I wanted to interact in a space outside of observation, it would have been terrifying, or borderline terrifying, very scary, very fearful. Okay, but instead I took the advice of my guides and angels, and what I did was I just observed and I observed and I observed and I channeled, and I got a deeper understanding of what was going on with him. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to lay down. And I'm going to do a violet flame meditation. And I'm going to see if he calms down. And I'm talking, this is prolonged. I mean, the whole time we ate dinner, he was screaming. And he was facing us. He was staring. He was facing the whole park. But I could feel him looking at us. And it was because I had, this was meant to be. I was meant to be there for him that day. So I laid down and I did a violet flame meditation, and I imagined a violet ray coming from my heart, and I filled the park up, and I sent a violet ray from my heart to his, and I said, may he find the light that is within him. May he see the light that he is. May he be blessed. May he find the answers he needs to move forward into the light. May he find forgiveness and love. May his path be blessed with happiness and joy. And I just imagined this ray, and I said all that. And you guys, he stopped screaming. And he was in like this, like a little picnic. It's like a little picnic building that you can have like gatherings at that park. Well, at first, you know, when he was screaming and yelling, he was outside on the front side. He was outside of it on the front side, facing everybody in the park. But after I did this and I came back, he stopped screaming. He calmed down. You could feel the energy had became a lot lighter. And he moved in more into the little building and went to the back. And yes, he was still talking to himself, but he wasn't screaming and angry anymore. So I gave it about like 5 minutes to make sure this just wasn't some like, and I don't believe in coincidences, but I was like, I just gotta make sure. I'm gonna give it 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, I felt this sense that it would be okay. So I brought him over some food and some water, and I asked him if he needed it. I didn't want to assume that he did. And he made eye contact with me. And I could feel relief. And he looked at me and he looked so sincere. And it was so weird because it's like I saw this little boy inside of him. And he said, I know that you're just trying to help me. And I told him, you know, we're all universally brothers and sisters. We are all one. We are all connected. And your pain is my pain. And I'm not going to watch. You know, I'm going to do what I can. So, and that's the story. So, it's real, guys. Like, it's really real. I mean, I know that it's real, but I experienced that and I realized what it is that we need to be doing. Anytime there's density around, it needs to be redirected to the light, to the positive. Don't hold people in all the negative things that are associated with what it is you're observing, because it doesn't have to be that way. Because that is all a product of conformity. And that's what this all has to do with. You need to break out of conformity. So, and that means the conformity to fear. I get that you guys probably get what I'm saying, but I just gotta make it crystal clear here. To hold anybody or any circumstance or anything and all the what ifs and the negative fear-based predictions of what you think about that circumstance needs to always be redirected back to what it should be. And it should never be those densities. It should always be light and love and creation and sovereignty and freedom in doing that. And when we do that, when we, how do I word this? The beauty of this is that we'll all be able to live in self-acceptance, in coexisting, in self-acceptance, in mutual respect. And when we have self-acceptance, we can accept each other in the authenticity that they are. And that's what this is. So I'm sure there's more I could say, but that's the message, guys. And This was really awesome to be able to do, and I hope that it helps you. And love and light, guys. I will see you again soon.